Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I'm really fascinated to get your take on the Mike Babcock situation because everybody seems to have a different take. What's yours, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, so it's fine to have a different take. The bottom line is that Mike, through his actions, demonstrated that he's learned very little since he was let go from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And what I would say, I might be giving him a big benefit of the doubt by saying he's learned very little. I would say he has learned nothing. And when I read his comment about how he was going to be a distraction, there's no acknowledgement of his wrongdoing. There's no apology for what he did. And that, to me, is a clear demonstration of somebody that doesn't understand, doesn't want to understand his impact and the way that he has treated players. It's wrong. There's no other way to put it. And at the end of the day, what I say is good riddance to Mike Babcock. If you want to try to improve, you want to be apologetic, we will wait and judge that down the road. But at this point in time, on this day, Monday, September 18th, there has been no growth in Mike Babcock. And I'm not so sure that he even wants to acknowledge his wrongdoings, and that's on him. But all I can say is good riddance. Good riddance.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was fascinated last week that Jerry was pounding Egg McMuffins like it was his job and dousing them with salt because he didn't care because he's 80.
How about that?
So what better, shrimp cocktail or Egg McMuffin? Don't waste our time. It's Egg McMuffin all day. And don't get me started about those puny little cocktail rings that you buy. They're disgusting. Egg McMuffin's good anywhere. That's right.
It's the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Guilty as charged. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show. I can't wait to get on the air and talk about the Mike Babcock stuff, okay? I can't wait. Talked about it in our Instagram story. You can follow us on Instagram at The Rod Pedersen Show. Taking over the world, we are. And Spittin' Chicklets, too. I'm in South Florida, where they do have an NHL hockey team. There will be a lot of hockey here. There's a lot of football, too, and those will be pretty much what we talk about today, hockey and football. Let's bring in Darren Moose DuPont. He is in Lake Country, very close to the hometown of one Mike Babcock, and good to see you, Moose. As I said to you, hey, I said, I can't wait to talk about the Babcock stuff, and you said here just moments ago, good. What makes you say good about that?
Well, we've got a topic that everybody's talking about that you and I are not just passionate about, but, we're familiar with hockey and the people in and around the game. This is our wheelhouse. So when the two things meet, I mean, you said, I can't wait to get through the pleasantries. So you're good. Weather looks good. I'm good. Things are good at the lake. Let's go.
Yeah, and I got stories. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan, and then we'll go from there. Coming up on the program today, a guy by the name of Coach Phil reacts. That's all I know. I can't wait to get to know him, but he seems like a guy I could quite like. And Jersey Jim Behringer will be joining us from, guess where? Jersey. And I got a story for you. I told you, Moose, I went out for a run this morning. I got caught in the rain, but that's okay. There's something nice about running in Florida and getting rained on. It's just refreshing. I went to a brand new coffee place today. Hadn't been in there before, and I was going to do my show prep, and all of a sudden my phone rang from a hockey guy and a staunch Babcock supporter. And let me say this, the conversation, the level of my voice got high. And all these old people, because I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, they were all, keep it down, keep it down. And I was like, I'm sorry, I was too loud. It's on me. I apologize. And they're all like, expecting a fight, because nobody apologizes, right? Anywhere. Everybody just wants to fight. I'm like, it's on me. I'm the problem. They're like, yeah, you are. So I anyhow, packed up all my stuff and went outside and finished the conversation outside. Like I say, I can't wait to talk about it. I got good news and bad news, Moose. What do you want first?
Oh, hit me with the good news.
The good news is we've got 2 million new homes we're in on Game Plus television throughout Western Canada. Millions more eyeballs on this show every single day. Do you want to know the bad news?
Yeah, the bad news?
We're in 2 million more homes across Western Canada, so there's a lot more people that have opinions on what we got to say every day. So I'm just going to get the poll question out right now. It's for Key Auto Group, and with the Key Auto Group, most vehicles receive a lifetime engine warranty guaranteed. Go to keyautogroup.ca/thekeyadvantage for eligibility and maintenance requirements. The Key Auto Group, here to take care of you. The poll question very simply is, are you a fan or follower of the podcast Spittin' Chicklets? And I had to vote no, and in a couple moments, I'm going to tell you why. And Darren, hold on to your vote. When we get to it, I'll ask for it. But again, are you a fan or a follower of the podcast Spittin' Chicklets? Because as you said, everybody's talking about it right now. And while we're talking about business, and we're in the business of being in business, the text line is open for EMJ Marketing, 902-518-3033 if you want to write us at any point throughout the show with questions or comments about what we're talking about. EMJ Marketing will provide the right keynote speaker for your event. Look him up, joe at emjmarketing.com. We'll get the pleasantries out of the way. Number one, the Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series against the Yankees in New York tonight, hoping to stretch their win streak to 4 games and improve their hold on an American League wildcard berth. Lefty Yusei Kikuchi will pitch for the Jays, who begin the day in the second wild card spot, a game up on the Mariners and Rangers. To point to Monday Night Football, Tony Jones Jr. ran for 2 touchdowns. Rookie Blake Group kicked 2 field goals, and the New Orleans Saints beat the Carolina Panthers 20-17 Monday night. Saints go to 2-0. The Panthers, not shocking, 0-2. Tough night for Bryce Young. He was sacked 4 times. And in the other game, it wasn't a doubleheader, as you noticed. It was another game. I don't know why they would put 2 games up against each other, but whatever. T.J. Watt scooped up a fumble by Deshaun Watson and ran 17 yards for the go-ahead touchdown midway through the 4th quarter, and the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Cleveland Browns 26-22. In a game overshadowed by a serious knee injury to Cleveland star running back Nick Chubb, Steelers beat the Browns for the 20th straight time at home in the regular season. That probably weighed into the bettors. There's more that I'll get to later in football. But point 4, I very simply have, in all caps, Babcock fallout. And I'll tell you right now, our hockey coverage is brought to you in part by Common Crown Brewing Company. Head down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday. They're in 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. They have their own bar there. So if you want to check out Common Crown Brewing, their craft beers, go do it. And if you want to do it from home before you go to commoncrown.ca. So here's what I wanted to talk about. Number one, just on the Spittin' Chicklets thing, I'm excited, so I need to not be careful what I say, but I want to put it in order so that it makes sense to you. Some hockey people were very upset with what Craig Button had to say yesterday about Mike Babcock. So, yeah, my phone blew up. They're all watching the show. That's my point. From all across Western Canada, some in the States, Darren, they didn't like what Craig Button had to say about Mike Babcock. They said he was grandstanding for the media. I said, well, maybe he was. He's a broadcaster now. Whatever. Who cares? He's obviously not a Babcock fan. It was sent to me today by Gino DePaoli, the voice of the Medicine Hat Tigers. The latest Spittin' Chicklets episode where I guess Biz Nasty said on there, hey, I didn't mean for Babs to get fired. I didn't mean for that to happen. I just wanted to bring this. And I'm like, the genie can't go back in the bottle, Biz. Just own it. It was because of your report Babcock got fired. I don't think you have a problem with that. So just own it. That's fine. It's fine. Nobody really has a problem with that. Now, in 2 of those phone calls that I got, Darren, people were like, I'm never listening to Spittin' Chicklets again. And my guess is they probably never have. But that's why I asked in the poll, and I will ask you, if you're even a fan or a follower of Spittin' Chicklets. Because in 2019, the year I left after I left the CFL, I was broadcasting junior hockey with you on television. Play-by-play the league final. And everywhere I went in these barns, the kids and the coaches and all the hockey people were like, have you listened to Spittin' Chicklets? You got to watch Spittin' Chicklets or listen to it. And I said, well, I haven't, but I'll try it. And I don't want to sound like a prude here. You know me pretty well. I'm a fairly open-minded, foul-mouthed trucker guy. I found it outrageously offensive. Spit and chicklets. That's also fine. It just wasn't for me. This show isn't necessarily for everybody either. I get it. I'm not offended by that. I'm sure you remember me saying at the time, if I wanted to hear this, I would just go into any dressing room, because that's what the talk is. I've had it my whole life. I'm not interested in listening to it anymore. I like Biz. He's been on this show. Ryan Whitney seems okay too. But the show's just not for me. And as one of those hockey guys said to me today, and he was an older guy, he was like, and you'll wonder why we have the problems in the culture of hockey, or why junior hockey players go and do dumb things. I don't think I need to name any specific incidents. But the way the language is and the culture is on Spit and Chicklets, this is the example of hockey? We said last week, I don't understand why the NHL endorses the things that Biz does and then puts him on a panel right beside Wayne Gretzky, which I'll say one more time. I like Biz. He's been on this show. Say whatever you want. It's just not for me. I lived it for 30 years. I'm not interested in living it anymore, but I understand it's very influential and people really like it. So I guess, am I landing the plane? Not really, other than to say that Mike Babcock has a lot of supporters out there, and I don't know if that would surprise people or not. So your thoughts, starting with, how are you voting in the poll, yes or no, fan or follower of Spit and Chicklets?
I'm going to vote yes. I don't listen to the podcast routinely. To be honest, I don't know when the last time was that I listened to an episode of Spit and Chicklets, the podcast, but I follow all the social media channels. I see the clips, and that's what I really like. I think what makes them successful is they've kind of embraced this new era of hockey where the players are more the stars and they have more power and have more influence, but they're also talented in the way that they storytell and in the way that they get their message across. So I really like that. And, you know, I'm kind of, I don't know what the word is, but I kind of have a foot in both pools, the old school and the new school, right? I kind of come up in both. And I think they do a great job. I mean, sometimes, it's a lot, you know, especially it's very different. They go out and play their golf. They call it a sandbagger, and they're getting drunk, and they're doing this, and they're playing with hockey players and totally letting it loose. But then mixed in there's some really good convos. So I'll vote yes on the poll. I'm a fan.
Totally fine. And then on the Babs thing, look, he ain't coaching again. And even those guys that called me, one was a big Husky guy, U of S Husky guy, where Babs just recently, and they'll say, nobody had any issues with Bab, highly professional. I'm sure he was, but on the flip side, I had people from the officiating community tell me that Babs kicked in the door after a game of the refs that the Huskies had just won. And I'm like, I have no problem believing that either. He's a very large personality, hard to control, and what's lost here in a lot of it. And by the way, the story isn't over. It's like, why are we still talking about it? I just don't think it's not necessarily going away just yet. I'm not sure that we've heard from the last of Babs yet. I mean, he took a kick in the pills, licking his wounds right now, and we'll probably hear from him down the line, unless he's being paid out. That's why you didn't hear from him after Toronto for a long time, because he had millions to get in a settlement. I'm not sure that's the case here right now. But even some of Bab's closest friends were like, hey, they're not defending him in this situation. They'll say he didn't learn his lesson from Toronto. He's never apologized. With a lot of the way what Craig Button said on Monday was right. It was kind of his delivery, right? He just went after Babcock on that. So anyways, I think for now I'm ready to move on because I have a lot of other things that I want to get to today, unless you have anything more.
No, the only other thing that I saw in this whole situation was we saw the statement from Babcock and Boone Jenner. And a lot of people online are saying, well, they had a great conversation, a good back and forth, and they each shared photos. What's so wrong about that? Well, Boone Jenner's experience, who's 30 and considered an older player, and some of the younger players' experience can be completely different. He can have a great experience with Babcock, and the other players can have a poor experience, and they can both coexist at the same time. So I think this is an open and shut thing. I don't think we're going to hear a lot more from it because I'm with you. I don't think Babcock coaches again.
No, like anything in life, people have their own perspective and takes. As I said, standing in front of the clubhouse yesterday, a meeting of my club, talking to this guy, Greg from Toronto, who I just met a few weeks ago. I said, Babs has been great to me. I can only go by how he treats me. And he goes, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. I'm not going to go by what everybody else says, or I wouldn't like anybody. Anyways, from the audience, Patrolman Pete says, just say it, Roddy. Babs is an egomaniac. Even he would probably agree with that. But as I said on the phone to one of these guys this morning, he's just one of hundreds of old hockey guys like that I know. How come Babs gets nailed to the cross, which was the actual quote from my friend today? The NHL's nailing Babs to the cross, but what about all these other coaches? You want to get into what I've seen? Witnessed? Right? There's a lot of egomaniacs in the business, and why is it him? Patrolman Pete also says, pretty ballsy take by Button. Good for him. And that's what people need to understand is I'm kind of getting there, too, in that Babs, Craig Button doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's got a nice, well-paying job at TSN where he can say whatever the hell he wants, and he doesn't care who he pisses off. One thing that did surprise me a lot in the last 24 hours is the anti-Craig Button sentiment across Canada amongst hockey fans. I thought everybody loved him. I should have known better. Nobody has universal support, but I didn't realize that he's that controversial. Nelson in Regina says, Roddy, you're looking really relaxed today. It's the T-shirt, bruh. It's the Under Armour T-shirt. It's new, and I love it a lot. And I also love where I am in life, geographically and everything else, spiritually. Kevin the Medium. Good morning, RP peeps, from the heart of Barcelona. Is that in Spain?
Yeah, how about that?
Good morning, Kev. Yep. Robert Campbell says Babcock is a dinosaur. He represents the old toxic hockey culture. As I was saying earlier, without it being a damnation on Spit and Chicklets, Spit and Chicklets represents what's wrong with hockey culture, too. That's the ironic part of all of this. I mean, just go listen to it. I had listened for 10 minutes. I'm like, this is way too offensive, but I will guarantee you 20 years ago, I would have thought it was hilarious. So I get it, but I'm not a 20-year-old hockey player, right? And nor am I riding the bus with them. That's their demo, and they're doing it well.
Yeah.
Ryan McCarthy in upstate New York says, part of me wonders if Jarmo Kekalainen and John Davidson are on a very short leash by Columbus ownership after this incident. Well, they should be. And further to that, if you read Mike Stackhouse's column on rodpeterson.com from the weekend, he said Brendan Shanahan played for Mike Babcock and hired him in Toronto. How come nobody's talking about that? And Allie in Texas says, I follow Spit and Chicklets for the few times they have some tea to spill. LOL. I'm not a fan. It could go away today, and it wouldn't bother me. I guess my point is they're very similar to Pat McAfee. They came up through that Barstool brand. And there's room for it. Just because I don't listen, don't mean it's not going to survive. Anyways, we'll get to all the football stuff, and I haven't even got to the big hockey stuff that I feel like we all came here today for. So hang on. We're only halfway through the Quick Six show topics. This is the warm-up on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a good time. And by the way, collectors, register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. It's taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. I'm in South Florida. The Moose is in Candle Lake, Saskatchewan, and I'm going to read some viewer comments in a moment. But can I say this, everybody? Please support our sponsors. If you enjoy what we're doing here daily, go support our sponsors. Common Crown Brewing, Sober Carpenter, Premier Sports Card Convention, you name it. I'll stop there because I'll forget some, but please do it. It would help us out a lot. And Moose, from the text line, 902-518-3033. It's interesting how people have turned on Biz in a way, and that's fine. Rick in Martinsville says, first time Biz got a coach fired and wasn't playing on that team. Pa-dum-bum. And then said, Biz got famous using the hockey banquet stories, then he took himself too seriously. Hard no. Maybe. I'm just going to read it. I won't sit here and try and decipher everybody's opinion, Moose. Brian in Ottawa, watching on Game Plus television, says, what a bunch of snowflakes. Couldn't the young players just say they weren't comfortable sharing info from their phone? It's interesting you say that, Brian. I'll say this. That's all we know of what happened. Craig Button said yesterday there's way more to this than we even know. I don't know any more than what's been reported. Craig obviously does. That's why there was an investigation. And it's hard to run off all half-cocked, as they say, when you don't have all the information, because you kind of make yourself look like a knob. And regarding Deion Sanders yesterday, we ended the show, Darren, I think you were part of that conversation, where I said he's not interested in coaching in the NFL right now, and people are losing their minds going, why wouldn't you want to coach in the NFL? And it's just, you're not getting it. You're never going to get it. He's making $30 million a year. He gets to coach his kid. And I think the important thing of what Deion said was, Prime, I'm not interested now. things may change, right? So the reason I bring that all up is Herb watches in Melville every day on Game Plus TV, the home of Tim Shovelday. And he says, hey, Rod, Neon Dion doesn't want to coach in the show like you don't want to do play-by-play anymore. Been there, done that, money regardless. He apparently wants to work with younger guys and molding them into NFL players. That's his thing. I can't speak for the coaches. I can speak a little bit for the broadcasters. But Donnie Clark, Wendell's brother, he's not with us anymore, but he was the coach of the PA Raiders when I was the voice of the PA Raiders at the age of 20. And I asked him about getting to the NHL, and he's like, he goes, I know enough about the NHL that I'm not sure I want to be in it. This is the last stop to coach a marquee player and have an influence in their career before they go to the NHL and everything gets all screwed up. And I believe Donnie when he says that because he was probably good enough to coach in the NHL. He wanted to coach at that level. He wasn't making $30 million a year like Dion, but it's the same idea. And with the play-by-play, what I love is people are actually fighting to understand why. Yes, I wanted to do play-by-play at one time, but now you're seeing why I don't want to do it anymore. I can still be in the NHL and work with the athletes and go to the arena every day, plus NFL and college and other leagues and sports and levels. This is what I want to do now, and they're finally starting to get it. Some will never get it, and you realize you just got to move on from them. So thank you, everybody, for playing. Now the most important thing, a quick one on the football, Darren. Point 3, the NFL says leaders of the players' union have advised running backs to fake injuries. Let me read that again. The NFL says leaders of the players' union have advised running backs to fake injuries. The league made the allegation in a grievance it filed last week against the NFL Players Association. The grievance says President J.C. Treader and other union leaders suggested that running backs considered feigning or exaggerating injuries to increase their leverage in contract negotiations. The grievance was detailed in a league memo obtained by the Associated Press. I'm about ready to go back to hockey because none of that surprises me whatsoever, but you're more of the football guy, so please tell me what you think about that revelation out of the National Football League.
It's just another, case of player versus league, and that running back group. They had that infamous Zoom call with all the running backs in the offseason, and then, unfortunately, it comes today on the heels of Nick Chubb going down for what we, have been learned to believe it's a season-ending knee injury. Nick Chubb is a top running back in the National Football League, and he's in that conversation as, maybe the best running back or one of them in the league, and now he's hurt. And it's just another knock on the running backs, another piece of leverage for owners to say, well, this is why we don't sign them for big long-term guaranteed money, because it's a not extremely durable position. They take a lot of beatings. And one of the things I think it was Robert Griffin III came out and tweeted, something along the lines of, running backs, get underpaid and then massively overworked. And when I heard you read that headline of feigning injuries, I think it's to lessen the load. Maybe you need to just say you're tight, get some tight hamstring a little bit so you can get a few plays off in the game and keep yourself healthy. You got to take care of yourself because these teams are just going to run you into the ground. But it's not going away, this story, anytime soon.
Thank you for that. Nothing surprises me anymore in sports. From here on in, I'm going to read a couple more messages and then audience participation. There is no more interactive show on television, radio, or streaming than this one. There's no doubt. 902-518-33. I'm actually asking for your opinion, and you can write it in the streaming chat too. One thing people also should understand, whether you know me personally or you do not, but if you have my number, I'm at the point now where when this show's over, my phone's going off because it's blowing up too much. I said last week, it dawned on me, why? Why am I getting all these messages now from people I haven't heard from? Oh, wait, August 26th, brand new cable carrier, 2 million more people. Yeah, don't bother me when I'm not on the air. You want to talk to me? Do it now. Those guys that called me, you guys can, but you might not get a return message till the next day because it's getting out of hand. Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba writes in, he says, good day, RP squad. On a milder note, after yesterday's spicy show, after shelling out a few Benjamins to get your Jeep repaired and released from the auto hospital, how's she running? I would suggest it's running like a Ferrari. Goldie, my Jeep. The only problem is it has some front-end issues. Serena thinks it's the brake pads, but it can wait. The engines, it's like when my dad was struggling with health problems when he got older. I'm like, knees, elbows, shoulders, that ain't organs. You can get around with a limp. That's kind of where we're at with Goldie. Now, the engine's fine. Tickety-boo.
Yes.
Well, we'll deal with the other stuff later, down the line.
How's the heart, the brain, the kidneys? That's important.
Right. Yeah, heart, brain, lungs, all of that. Brian says, good day, RP squad. Today in a milder... Oh, sorry, that's not him. Here's DG. Sorry. DG in Saskatoon. Morning, guys. 8 former CFL players amongst the 173 players nominated for the Pro Football Hall of Fame for induction in 2024 this morning. Doug Flutie, Jeff Garcia, Mike Vanderjagt, Joe Horn, Chad Johnson, Ricky Williams, Andre Rison, and Brendan Iabandeo all got the nod. This list will be narrowed down in November to semifinalists. Thank you, DG in Saskatoon, for pointing that out. I'm bringing my notepad over here. You put in the thumbnail this morning. This will probably carry us for the rest of the show unless somebody writes in with comments or questions that'll knock our socks off, whether it's about Babs or Spittin' Chicklets or something else. 7 burning questions. This came to me this morning when I was thinking about what are we going to talk about on the air. Coincidentally, there are 7 Canadian teams in Canada in the National Hockey League, Darren, and we find one. What's the most burning question for all of them? Going from coast to coast. I don't have them all, but in Vancouver, and this is aside from the obvious. Are they going to make the playoffs? No, not that. In Vancouver, I would suggest, is Rick Tocchet the man? Is he going to finally be the man? Because they've been lighting coaches on fire and kicking them out of there like crazy for years. Can't remember the last good one they were happy with. Is Rick Tocchet going to be the man? That's your second team, by the way, the Canucks. Do I have the right question for them or not?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think about that, and we thought Bruce Boudreau was going to be the guy. It's been a while. They need to find a guy who can get this team pointed in the right direction. Great question.
Canucks fans, stand up. Who coached them to the 2011 Stanley Cup final? Off the top of my head, I'm blanking.
Alain Vigneault?
Okay.
I think.
Thank you. I forgot he was even there. The way coaches turn. Because I know for Boston, it was Claude Julien. We only remember the winners. We only remember the winners. In Edmonton, I deferred to the Oilers fan who lives in the house. You know to whom I'm referring. I said, what's the number one question, Serena, facing the Edmonton Oilers? And she goes, not how far will they go, how far should they be expected to go? And by the way, I'm just throwing the questions out now. We'll spend the rest of the show answering these questions and getting the audience's participation. But I'm going to tell you right now, at Edmonton-Toronto Stanley Cup Finals, my expectation, my answer for that is the Stanley Cup Final. That's how far I expect them to go. You?
That should be the expectation now in Edmonton. This is as great of a chance as they're ever going to get is now. And on the heels of that, my secondary question will be, it's kind of how far Stuart Skinner can take them in goal. And
Skinner?
It should be the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. We're moving from west to east, and we don't have time in this segment to get to all the teams, so we'll pick this up a little later. But the Calgary Flames, it's not who's going to be the captain. I can just see it now. They're planning some splashy announcement. They know who it's going to be. The coaches do. I don't think the captain, whoever the future captain is, knows who it's going to be. It'll be a big announcement, and that's fine. But that's a burnt-out, horse-beaten question. The question is, can Ryan Huska be the guy? Similar to, will Rick Tocchet be the guy in Vancouver? Can Ryan Huska be the guy in Calgary? And I think he can. He seems to be cut from that Paul Maurice mode, the John Cooper mode. This is finally, he's getting the chance. He understands you can't treat 20 players one way, which another thing, if you want to know that I know my stuff, Flames people told me this summer that the moment Daryl Sutter lost the room was when he publicly embarrassed Jacob Pelche. After his first NHL game, news conference after, the media says, what did you think of Jacob Pelche's game? What did Daryl do? Let's see. What number was he? Lost the room. Embarrassed the kid in front of the world. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not something those other coaches I've named would do. And Winnipeg, the question is, has the culture changed enough? To me, that's the burning question out of Winnipeg. You got rid of Blake Wheeler. What other changes you've made that we don't know? Is it going to be enough? Because you got a good team. You made the playoffs last year. I got their roster for training camp sent to me yesterday. I'm like, this is a good team. Don't mean diddly squat if they don't get along. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you're right. You need to have a team that's on the same page, 100%. If they're not, if the team doesn't, get along and everybody doesn't get on the same page, you're not going to win. We've seen that all the time, with great teams, collections of all-stars that don't win because they're not a team, right? So that matters so much more. We've seen that for those great teams in Tampa Bay. Those were great teams. It wasn't necessarily the most talented roster. There's great rosters out there. And that's been something that's maybe plagued Toronto a little bit. Highly talented roster. Lots of stars on that team. Are they finally a team? We'll find out.
Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, we're coming for you next hour. Moose, see you then.
See ya.
Folks, I'm excited about our upcoming guest right after this break. Teacher, coach, YouTube influencer, Coach Phil reacts. Joins us next, live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQ, EE Radio, YouTube Live, Apple, and Spotify.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
A reminder to you, fam, our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com for a vendor near you. Total Wine and Spirits here in Boca Raton, Florida, but they have it all across Canada. In fact, they're based in Montreal, maybe in Auburn, Washington. That's the hometown, I think, or at least the locale of our next guest, Coach Phil Reacts. And Phil, before I go any further, I don't know you from Adam, but I like what you stand for. I like the cut of your jib. I like what you're doing. But I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience, if you don't. What's your deal, Phil? What is your deal?
I'm just a crazy brother that loves football. That's all it is, man.
You should put that on your Twitter bio, which you do have, by the way, as aspiring teacher, football coach by day, YouTube reactor, and single dad by night. But it just seems like, because I've been following you, we follow friends of each other, personal, what do you call it, mutual friends. But you kind of been taking this Canadian Football League by storm this summer. What brought that about, and how did it happen?
It just happened overnight. I was actually doing the videos about a year ago, and then I did one video that just kind of took off, and it's just been a crazy summer. It's been the summer of Coach Phil, man. I couldn't ask for anything more, and I love it. But I'm just enjoying the ride, and hopefully I'm doing something to where I can uplift the game and let people down in the States know that there is another league out there, and they're pretty doggone good at what they do.
Well, is that the video that I just saw that kicked it all off? You basically said, hey, you NFL lifers and that troll the CFL, don't sleep on it. Is that what I just saw? Like, explain that.
Yeah. So there was two videos that I did. One was where, and not disrespectfully, I did it as nicely as I could, was I did a video called Work With Us CFL, and that just took off, where I was just saying, hey, we out here, we trying to, us content creators, more so for everybody else than myself. We're out here. We're trying to what's the word? We're trying to boost the league up and let everybody know that the league is out here, but you guys really don't want to work with us. And then it just kind of took off. And then the one that I posted on Twitter, where I was like, to all the NFL lifers and all that, I meant what I said with that. I stand on what I said with that. I really believed everything I said in that, and it just took off from there.
Well, here's what I see about you, and I'm not just kissing your butt. Again, I got mutual friends that if they vouch for you, I'll vouch for you because they're good people. But you know your stuff. You're a good guy, and you're cool. That's pretty good trifecta right there. But the thing that I don't understand, I hate the phrase perception's reality, because perception's not reality. Reality's reality. And I've got tired of defending the CFL to people, particularly in Canada, because, Phil, as you know, and by the way, you're from Washington State. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, born and raised. My hometown's Renton, Washington.
Okay. I just get people that down here in Florida, they have more respect for the CFL than a lot of Canadians do because they know the game of football. I'm over explaining how good it is. If somebody wants to pick up the torch and that's you, then have fun with it. Because are you finding that you're making a difference?
I hope I am. I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and just say thank you, and thank you for sharing our league and all that. And when I went to Regina and even to Winnipeg, the love was just crazy because I didn't realize the reach of how far my videos got to people. I got teenagers walking to me saying, want to take pictures. I've got adults. I've got older people want to take pictures with me. And I'm just like, yo, I'm just a regular guy from Washington, a football coach and a dad and work in the educational field. So I didn't know that it reached that far. And I'm just glad that I'm able to do it for everybody, you know?
Well, you got, as Larry Dean said to me, you got a good energy. And people see that. James in Borden, Manitoba says, I've been watching Coach Phil since the start of the season. Love his videos, but it's too bad he's a Rider fan. Is that a fact? You got a fan, a favorite team?
Yeah, I do. I unapologetically root for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So there's so much like the Seahawks back home, and I respect the history. I respect the culture. Love the guys. That's my team. Now here's the biggest thing that people don't realize is I'm a fan of football. I love football, and I root for everybody. I want to see everybody win. Now that's not realistic where there's got to be one champion at the end of the day, but I want to see everybody be successful. So, but the team that I do root for is the Rough Riders.
Fair. Hey, we all got to have a team, as I always say, and as long as you're cheering for somebody. Janice Owen writes in, she says, finally on RP. She's talking about you, and you know who that is. They're rolling the ticker across. He's particularly popular with the women, I'm noticing. Haley writes in and says, Coach Phil is my favorite. From Susan, I love Phil. He's a beautiful, fun-loving guy. Thanks for having him on. From Leanne, she says, Coach Phil will have a forever membership with Rider Nation. If you don't mind answering a quick question, John from Edmonton says, Phil, what should the NFL do to prevent season-ending injuries or week-to-week injuries? Let's just say that to football overall. Do you have a quick answer to that?
Quick answer would be, I'd say, we can sit there and say, oh, go back to grass, but at the end of the day, there's injuries that happen in football. They're freak accidents. Is really changing the grass going to do anything? I don't know. But we'll have to just see about that. But that's my view of it. Man, injuries happen.
Well, what's interesting about that is I've heard from therapists in football, athletic therapists that have pumped grass and have pumped turf. Hello. You can hear me anyways. I don't know if you can see me. There we go. I've heard both sides of the argument, so I don't know what the answer is. Phil, who is... Okay, we all know Toronto's the best team in the CFL right now. Who's number two?
Honestly, I'd say the second best team, right? You have to say it's either Winnipeg or BC. Easily.
Is Chad Kelly the runaway most outstanding player, the quarterback for Toronto?
Yes. Easily, without question. I mean, he's been the most consistent. I'll say this. I know Blue Bomber fans are going to be upset to hear this, but Zach has had some games where he struggled, and I know he's the reigning back-to-back MOP, but Chad has been the most consistent, and I'm big on consistency. Chad has had games where he's had his back against the wall, and he's stood tall. He's made it happen. The numbers aren't like out of this world, but there's been a lot of guys that have won the most outstanding player, even NFL MVP, that didn't have the most staunch numbers, and they won it. So Chad's going to win it, I think, at the end of the day.
Well, it's just unfortunate because it's not even an argument. Toronto's the best team. Chad Kelly's the best player. And they got him signed up long-term. So aside, if we don't say Toronto and Chad Kelly, who's the next big thing at quarterback in the Canadian Football League? Because it appears we're going through a changing of the guard at that position.
Trey Ford and Jake.
Yeah?
Those are the guys who got. Yeah, Trey. I'm a big Trey guy, man. Trey's going to change things if he stays the course and Chris Jones doesn't get in his way, then Trey's had a chance to be something special. And same thing with Jake. I love what Jake is doing. Jake's had a couple games where you're like, oh my goodness, where's he been? But just consistency, and we're going to see over time what happens.
Dude, who misses the playoffs in the CFL West? You've been around long enough to realize how this goes down. Looks like only 3 are going to make it. So who misses?
Ooh. Depends on the division. We're talking East or West.
In the West, only the top 3 are going to make it. So somebody's got to miss out of Calgary, Edmonton, and Sask. 2 of those 3 teams got to miss. Is that too tough one to predict right now?
No, I think Calgary's going to miss it. I think Calgary has been so. Yeah, Calgary's it's all over the place with what they and the season didn't really start off well because they lost Kadeem Carey early on, but that's a big part of your offense. But there's just too much inconsistency with them.
Gotcha. Phil, I love it. Maybe we can do it again in the playoffs. I appreciate that. And thanks for all the great things you're doing for the CFL and for the great people that follow it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me anytime.
That was quick and fun with Coach Phil Reacts. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover after this break. You are watching on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We back. What a week, hey? All kinds of stuff going down. I'll get to a sports update here in a second. Mostly the Babcock stuff, but I'm seeing here that the United States Football League, the USFL, and the XFL are about to announce a merger. Come on, guy. Who didn't see that coming? Which we'll talk more about next hour with Darren. We have a lot of stuff on the table today, and I love it all. I was saying to Serena this morning, I love doing this show so much. I love it as much as anything I've ever done. And I've never been asked as much over the last couple days how I feel about Spittin' Chicklets than I have over the last couple days. Clark, what is the update on the poll, by the way? The poll question today is, are you a fan or follower of this podcast Spittin' Chicklets? What are they saying? 77% say no, they are not. Our poll question is brought to you by Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. Interesting thing, I talked about this at the start of the show. I'm just talking about it now for those that didn't see it. I listened to 10 minutes of Spittin' Chicklets in 2019, and I found it outrageously offensive. And that's not saying I'm a moral savior here or above it. It just wasn't for me. And anybody that's known me my whole life can attest, I used to be those guys. So I get it. I just don't want to listen to it anymore. That's fine. I lived it for a long time. I actually had somebody sit me down and say, Rod, you can't be this way. It's wrong. And I actually, after 100 times of being kicked in the head and told that, I finally listened. I don't understand. Has anybody done that to Biz and Ryan Whitney? I don't know. But it's very influential, so I don't begrudge them that. I know this show isn't for everybody. Spittin' Chicklets isn't for me, but I understand that it's for a lot of people. You can't argue with the numbers. I'm just shocked that the NHL is okay with what's discussed on that show. It's rank. And as one hockey guy said to me this morning, a long-time hockey guy, you'd know him if I said his name. He's like, and you'll wonder why we have the problems with junior players like we do after what you hear on this show every week. I don't get it, but what doesn't bother me anymore, you know what, is I don't care. Sports update, the Toronto Blue Jays will kick off a 3-game series against the Yankees tonight in New York. The Jays have 12 games left in the regular season, 6 against the Yankees and 6 against the Rays. Toronto trying to hold on to a wild card spot in the American League. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Orioles will put their 3-game winning streak on the line tonight in Houston. The Orioles scored 3 runs in the 9th of last night's 8-7 win over the Astros. Baltimore 2.5 up on second place Tampa in the AL East. The Rays are home to the Angels tonight. And the American League West Division race is the tightest in all of the majors. Houston has a game and a half lead over both Seattle and Texas. Mariners and Rangers also chasing Toronto in the wild card race. Jays hold the second of 3 spots. Seattle and Texas one behind. Sports update is for Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Moose slides back in next hour, and who else? Jersey Gem after this brief pause. Stick around, everybody.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I was fascinated last week that Jerry was pounding Egg McMuffins like it was his job and dosing them with salt because he didn't care because he's 80.
How about that?
So what better, shrimp cocktail or Egg McMuffin? Don't waste our time. It's Egg McMuffin all day. And don't get me started about those puny little cocktail rings that you buy. They're disgusting. Egg McMuffin's good anywhere.
That's right.
It's the Rod Pedersen Show.
Thank you very much, Rick Regan, who, interestingly enough, is from Boca Raton, Florida. He's from here, our big voice guy. How about that? He has given me several Thank you, that guy. He's from Boca. Yeah, he's given me lots of restaurant recommendation that we have yet to take him up on, but we're going to be here for a while. We got time to hit them all. We got some great audience participation here as we hip-hop into hour two. You know where I am. Darren Moose DuPont is in Lake Country, Candle Lake, Saskatchewan. It's up there in the sticks, north of Prince Albert. Beautiful part of the world. I bet you it's really beautiful this time of year. We have three topics on the table. One's come up since you left us, Moose. We have our 7 burning questions for the NHL teams. Canadian NHL teams, going to carry us through a lot of hour 2 here. Obviously, people, so they're not done on the Mike Babcock, Paul Bissonnette story, spitting chicklets. And we'll get your take on that. And in a second, I want your take on the news that the XFL and the USFL are merging, and the announcement is due by the end of the week. And again, who didn't see that coming? From the audience, Leanne writes in, not your Leanne, Darren, another one, and says, she goes, Rod, do you have a pet parrot, or am I just hearing Florida's nature? Yes, I do have a pet parrot. His name is Darren.
How about that?
No. Listen, it's the nature here, and I'm happy Darren came down whenever it was, I think April, for our 1000th show, and that's why I wanted to be outside. I have everything exactly the way I want. I want to be outside doing this show. These are natural birds. And I think I said to you, Darren, there's a bird around the house that sounds like a car alarm. I now get where they came up with the sound of a car alarm. It's like, woo, 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 woo. It's like a car alarm. but the Jeep doesn't have a car alarm on it, so I know it's an actual bird. Isn't this, like, I think it's the greatest place in the world. You don't?
It's pretty awesome. I'll tell you that. It's pretty awesome. We have slight differing opinions on best place in the world, but you know what? They're all great. And I was down there with you. It's great. Like, I can attest, it's pretty great.
Arlen Bruce III writes in, two-time Grey Cup champion. He says, the RP show my fave. I cut my dreadlocks off. I got a fresh new cut. My waves will be in my hair soon. I'm Hall of Fame bust ready. Oh, you want to go there? You want to go there? Don't get me going about Hall of Fames. They killed it. I put it in my 10 things column last week. I don't need to repeat this, but Ron Duguay, you were watching that episode 2 weeks ago where he's like, Rod, what do you think about Henrik Lundqvist getting into the Hall of Fame? I think it's great, Dukes. Yeah, but he didn't win anything. Doesn't matter anymore. Oh. They've killed it. They've killed it. And that's why I get ticked off about it, AB. You should be in there. There's a lot of people should be in there that aren't, and it's just not that important anymore. On the Mike Babcock thing, a couple things. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, by the standard of the day, some thought Don Cherry was offensive too. My dad didn't like Don Cherry. That's fine. I loved him. Near the end, not as much, but I'm not saying Biz should be canceled. What I'm saying is I'm not interested to listening to his podcast. And we're towing the line with things that I'm not comfortable with. Jordan Ewart writes in from Regina, and he says, what bothered me about Biz's initial take on the phone/pictures thing is he was talking about guys having blank on their phone. I feel this was mishandled and is unfair to Babs. Once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't stuff it back in. That's the one thing about with Biz here. Somebody sent me the clip. He's now saying, I didn't mean for him to get fired. What did you mean, Biz? You had to know this was going to happen. Like, for instance, with what I said that got me fired, I owned it. I don't have a problem with it. Bye-bye. Just pay me. Own it, Biz. I don't like that he's walking it back. How do you feel about that in the most recent Spittin' Chicklets?
Yeah, I saw the clip, but he also, it's interesting because it does walk it back a little bit. You're right. And then the other side of it, but he said, we're a players podcast, and if you step out of line, he's kind of pointed out the old school guys, then we're going to come after you to keep them honest. And the thing is it ends up being that there's more stories out there that we haven't heard yet that are even worse. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to happen again. They're going to, if coaches are out of line and it gets to the players and to Biz and Witt and the guys on Spittin' Chicklets, they're going to talk about it again and come after the coach. It's going to happen.
So the poll question today, before we move on any further, which is brought to you by Key Auto Group, and it is every day with the Key Auto Group. Most vehicles receive a lifetime engine warranty guaranteed. Go to keyautogroup.ca/the Key Advantage for eligibility and maintenance requirements. The Key Auto Group, here to take care of you. The poll question is, are you a fan or a follower of Spittin' Chicklets? I voted no. Darren voted yes. Away we go. It's not the end of the world one way or the other. Spittin' Chicklets is going to do just great, and I'll sum it up before we move on one last thing. I've seen coaches do 100 times worse things than Mike Babcock, and it's never been brought up. It's been buried. I've seen it with my own eyes. You want to come at me for witnessing and not doing anything? I probably should have. Right? There's whatever. How come these coaches get away with it and Babs doesn't? How come Biz can say these outrageously offensive things on the podcast, yet be on the NHL on TNT right beside Wayne Gretzky? I don't get it, but it doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. It used to keep me up at night. I literally don't care anymore. On the football talk about the NFL claiming that the Players Association is encouraging their running backs to fake injuries in order to help and give them leverage in contracts? Like, I don't even understand this. Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba writes in, and we bring this up because we talked about it last hour. It was in the news. Wilf says, "Hi, Rod and Moose. The NFL realized there is an abundance of running backs. Next position will be quarterbacks. They're way overpaid." You might be right, Wilf. I'm not interested in arguing with really anybody. I'm not a controversial guy, but they just realized running backs are a dime a dozen. Roy Shivers told me that 20 years ago. And by the way, quarterbacks are not a dime a dozen, so that's why they're getting all the money. What do you think about that statement? Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I would go as far to say the quarterbacks are underpaid. Because you can't pay enough money to have a good quarterback. If I'm running an NFL team or any pro team, I'll slip you and your agent a blank check. You can fill it out. Because I need a good quarterback. That's how important they are. I would give me running backs you've never heard of in exchange for a great quarterback. That's how valuable they are. You need a quarterback. Tell me a team that's won without a quarterback. I mean, yes, there will be instances, but not a lot. Not a lot.
No. But what's interesting about that, and the football people just perked up, I feel, because it's not a chicken and the egg, but it's just a highly delicate situation that I do talk with my football people regularly. Because I think quarterbacks are overpaid. They're like you. They think they're underpaid, or they at least say you gotta pay to get a good one. I'm like, that's fine. But Kyler Murray, y'all, the guys that signed him to the whatever the deal is, $42 million a year, they're all gone now. Steve Keim, the general manager, and Cliff Kingsbury, the head coach, they whiffed on it. So you better damn well make sure you got the right one. Or Derek Carr in Vegas, they're just lucky that he wanted out of Vegas. Or that would have been a far stickier situation. Why couldn't the 49ers move Jimmy Garoppolo forever? Because of money. So that's, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay giving them the money. I don't have a problem with it. You better make damn sure you got the right one. And that's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. That's the job. That's the tough part, is deciding who you're going to give the bag to and committing to. But in terms of, getting quarterbacks and finding them, I mean, I'd be drafting a quarterback every year in the draft. Every year, just to find the right one. Because how many times do you draft a quarterback in the first, second, third round and they don't pan out? More often than not, it feels like. So I would just keep drafting, and I wouldn't really care about making your quarterback room upset. It's like, we got to find the right guy. I don't care how long it takes.
Well, that's the proper way to go about it. And I relate it to hockey just because I understand it more. In Vegas with Kelly McCrimmon, he kept firing coaches and firing goalies until he got what he wanted. Right? And the ones that he could trust to win him a championship. And then he won. Yeah, 111. It's 111. Eastern, everybody. 11-11 Mountain. Tough times don't last, Moose. Tough people do. So people just envision a positive outcome to your current quagmire. That's what you got to do. I don't think anybody would want me to be the boss, because I've looked at McCrimmon now and just said that's the way I would do it. And I was talking to a football guy the other day, by the way, in the States, and I said if I was running a team or a business, I would just keep hiring until I got the right people, firing until I got the right people. He's like, yep. But I'm not the boss, don't want to be. Kurt is watching in Saskatoon, 902-518-3033. He writes in on the text line and he says, I loved Coach Phil. And he's right. This was last hour. Coach Phil reacts. I don't even know the guy's last name. Coach Phil. It's all I know. It's all we need. He says it's not if you get injured in football, it's when. It's inevitable. Great take by Phil. I used this analogy long ago. Sorry to bring this up, and I hope it doesn't trigger people, but there were some people that died in Lethbridge. They fell down an elevator shaft in a hotel. And I was like, we're not banning elevators because this happened. It's a tragedy. It's crappy, but it happened. You know what I mean? Now we got to ban turf because Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles. Knee jerk. You know what I mean? It happened. Yeah. I want to go back to the hockey thing because I'm just so pumped up about it. We went through the West. And for those that weren't watching or listening in hour one, I will probably spend a good balance of the rest of this hour on this. 7 burning questions for 7 Canadian NHL teams. In Vancouver, is Rick Tocchet going to be the guy? And you know what I mean by that. In Edmonton, this was Serena's suggestion. How far should the Oilers be expected to go? I expect them to go all the way to the Stanley Cup final. And once you get there, probably win it. But I expect they'll go that far. Calgary, can Ryan Huska be that guy? I really think he can. I've known him a long time, and I believe in him. And Winnipeg, has the culture changed enough? I don't think anybody can answer that question, but we'll start to find out once they start playing some games here. And then with Toronto, I have what I think is their burning question, but I'd like to know yours since you're the Leafs fan in the house.
Mine would be, has the core matured enough? Are they mature enough to bear down and dig deep and do the things that are necessary to win in the playoffs? We know that they can win in the regular season. We know they're talented enough, but are they mature enough to win in the playoffs?
Well, somebody wrote me here from Lethbridge the other day and said, you look really zen down there in Florida, really calm. And I said, because it's taken me 2 bloody years to get it figured out in a variety of ways. Like, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere for a long time. But what I've also realized is to turn the television off. And what did I say last hour? Turning my phone off once this show's over. It was driving me insane. And that's on me. I should have realized I should have turned it off a lot earlier. My phone, the television, whatever. Because in Toronto, you can hear that Austin Matthews hates it here. He doesn't have privacy. He wants to go play at home. He wants to go play in Scottsdale. Blah, blah, blah. He wants to play his contract out and then make as much as he wants somewhere. All that really was a lie. It was all just bunk. It's filler. Yeah, one of those hockey guys this morning was upset at Elliot Friedman. He's like, who the hell's this Elliot Friedman? What's he ever done in hockey? He goes, but I get it. He's got to fill time. He's got to get downloads on his podcast. That's all true. But were you surprised that Austin Matthews signed the extension for, 3 more? Were you surprised when it came down last month?
No, I wasn't.
No?
No, I think, maybe he wants to play in Scottsdale. And if he wants to, he will one day. But I think, and I don't know Austin Matthews or the people around him, but I think he probably wants to win too. And I think, this is the window for the Leafs. The window could be as long as Austin's there, but this is the real window where you can reasonably expect to keep the core together. And so it's like, let's take care of that. And then if I win, then I can feel good about going wherever I want and doing whatever I want to do. But I think guys, even though they might act aloof and, not serious, I think they still want to win. And winning is what really cements your legacy in the game. You look at all the guys who have points and have done really well and are thought highly of but never won anything. They're not thought about in the same class as, the Yzermans or the Joe Sakic's or the guys who won. Even Crosby and Ovechkin now that he's got his cup.
One of the NHL guys in Calgary, and I can't remember which one, because I was around all of them. We're tight now, me and the Calgary hockey community. But they said with a straight face, Austin Matthews is this close to going down in history as the greatest Toronto Maple Leaf ever. So you have a very good question there with yours. Mine is kind of similar to yours. Mine is this the year? It's an obvious question, but it's similar to yours. It's similar to yours. They need to mature to win the Stanley Cup. Leafs fans say this is our year, but they say it every year. But now we all think it's their year. Is it?
Yeah.
We got to get to Montreal and Ottawa, and I want to get the audience's answers to these questions. Jersey Jim coming up later on this hour, too. We're live on the Game Plus television network. We're on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, collectors, register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. Taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, at the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. Let's bring the moose in, if I may. We're having a great show today. I appreciate everybody for chiming in and being a part of it. And hey, Colin in Ottawa, I was actually hoping that you'd be part of the show today in the audience, and you are. So stay tuned. I'm going to get to you in a second with all our 7 burning questions. John Ohm in Winnipeg. Says the Winnipeg Jets will answer that question, Rod. Mine was, have they fixed the culture? He says, I hope you and Moose still have your Winnipeg Jets playoff shirts I gave you, bro. Jets, Jets, Jets. White out. Well, let's remember that they made the playoffs last year with a terrible culture. So how good could they be if they fixed it? You're saying yes, but we don't know the answer to that, John. Nobody knows that. Ted in Red Deer, before I look at the other teams, and Colin, by the way, in Ottawa, I want your question for the Senators because I don't really know what their question would be. I mean, I could find one, but it would be weak. Yeah. From an Ottawa guy, a Sens fan, what's the one burning question you have? And Ted in Red Deer says, my Leaf question would be, what result would cause them to switch out of the Shanna plan? And I'm sure your mind's racing on that, Darren, but I would suggest the Shanna plan's been crumpled up. Boop. Oh, firing Babs and Kyle Dubas, I don't think was in the Shanna plan. So we have a new plan. We don't have a name for the plan, but the Shanna plan is not happening anymore. Thoughts?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. That's been crumpled up and then opened back up, and you see the crump, and there's lines and red ink all over it. And, there's been addendums and to that Shanna plan. But you know what? To move on from Brendan Shanahan, and then, I don't think you're going to move on from Brad Treliving after 1 year. But I think you missed playoffs or round exit again. And you're going to have to really look at what you're doing moving forward.
Yeah. Okay. We're, as I said, having a fantastic discussion here. I'm enjoying it. I hope everybody else is as much as me. As you say, Darren, when I'm happy, the crowd's happy. So that's good. Jen at the Four Seasons says the Oil have been in the Western Finals 2 years in a row. I'm hoping they can get over that hump and go all the way this year. Well, Serena hates when I pick her teams to win anything because she says that I'm always wrong. But that's not the case. I picked the Vegas-Florida Stanley Cup final 2 years ago, and they ended up making it last year. Last year, I said an Edmonton-Toronto Stanley Cup final, as did a lot of people. Didn't happen, but I think there's a chance that that might happen this year. Somebody, B. Henderson in Winnipeg writes that he says, Buffalo versus Winnipeg in the Stanley Cup final this year. Bank it. And then he adds an LOL. I do have Buffalo to make the playoffs, and I also have Winnipeg to make the playoffs. And I think I told you Monday, watch out for the Predators. Because I talked to their staff at their rookie tournament on the weekend, and they're big fans of Barry Trotz. Things have changed there. And it's not that there was a problem under David Poile, but things have changed. And it's cool. I'm excited for them. It's a good franchise. Anyways, Colin in Ottawa has answered the bell. Thank you, Colin in Ottawa. He says, can the Senators improve their coverage in their own zone? Frankly, the back end was bad for Ottawa last season, and if vast improvements aren't made, then there will be no playoffs again. What did Claire Hanna say yesterday? 7 years out of the playoffs, and Brady Tkachuk, the captain, saying, I'm tired of it? Saying it and going out and doing something about it are two totally different things. He's, from everything I hear, just a tremendous captain of the Ottawa Senators. But they keep, from what I see, I feel like they keep tweaking and changing things. Like Claire said yesterday, they have a tremendous young group. They do, but I thought DeBrincat was supposed to be part of that. And you just kind of want people that want to be there, right? Like, all those guys in Edmonton, which was routinely voted the worst place in the Western Conference to play by NHL players. It was on Long Island in the East, Edmonton in the West. Edmonton's locking up all those guys. Everybody wants to be in Edmonton. Why don't they want to be in Ottawa? I don't know. That's why I asked the question. You know what I mean? And Colin says also, can Eunice Korpisalo be the true number one goalie they haven't had since Craig Anderson left the Sens in 2020? That's the other thing. I don't like teams switching goalies all the time, and the Oilers are doing that, and I don't really like that either. But do you have a take on Ottawa before we move on to the Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, well, they haven't made the playoffs in 7 years. And when the team's not winning, why do I want to be a part of that if I'm a free agent? Now, they've got a good young core, very exciting core, but it's kind of like you don't want to be the first one to the new thing until the new thing is proven to be something cool. So they need to get to the playoffs and show the world that they're trending towards contending for a cup. And when they do, go there. Edmonton, you got the best player in the world, maybe the second or third world in Leon, and you're looking at a team now that's pushing and expected to get to a Stanley Cup. I want to be a part of that, right? If falls to the playoffs and lights the world on fire, be a part of that too.
I appreciate everybody chiming in. I can't get to everybody's comments. As I said, there's a lot of new viewers on this program. We'll try to get to as many comments as we can. 902-518-3033. We welcome everybody watching now and making us part of their daily routine on Shaw Rogers Channel 230. Just pleased as punch to be on there. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, is anyone picking the Flames for the playoffs? Well, I don't think you want my prediction on that. I had them going to the Stanley Cup final last year, as you may or may not remember, and they pooped their drawers and fired their coach and GM. Oh, no. The one thing I've spent enough time in Calgary the last couple of years that the fans are very upset about, is they don't have a $12 to $13 million player. You just said it. The Oilers have McDavid. Your Leafs have Matthews. They're like, we don't have that star. We're in the mushy middle. We're not really good. We're not really bad. And they're kind of like, if we're going to be bad, let's be really bad and draft a star, a big star. And so John Ohm, I hear this a lot. I got to take umbrage with it. He says the only thing holding Edmonton back is goaltending. And then he says, ask Serena. Ask her what? She's not on here today. You ask her. I get that so much. Why is she more popular than me, Darren? Oh, wait. No, I'm just joking. Their goalie was a finalist for the Calder Trophy last year. What more do you want? Why are people so down on Edmonton's goaltending? And by the way, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm a goalie guy, and I'm a Western Canadian backer. Stuart Skinner is a goalie from Edmonton who played for the Swift Current Broncos, so I may be biased. Why are they so down on this guy? And for that matter, Jack Campbell. Everybody forgets about Jack Campbell. I thought he was supposed to be the savior in Toronto. He wasn't. It's a pretty good tandem in Edmonton. Why are people crapping on him?
I think, because they haven't won, there's been some inconsistency. I think you're still thinking about back to Mike Smith and the goaltenders before that have let you down in the playoffs. You got to have some patience. You're right. Stuart Skinner is just a finalist for the Calder. He's young. He's getting better every year.
Okay, we're losing Moose. I don't know if you need to refresh or what you need to do. Hopefully you can fix that. But the one thing, maybe Oilers fans and sports fans in general will actually start to listen to me, because what I'm hearing from people is that my wisdom every day is making a difference. You can't blame Stuart Skinner nor Jack Campbell for the failures of the past. Similar to, just to give you a great example, Winnipeg. When Troy Westwood was saying, you can't blame this year's Bombers for the 30-year drought. You're doing it, but you can't. It's not right. He was right. At some point, you got to allow them to do their job and trust them. I believe Darren's right. I mean, Darren's not just a pretty face in that they're down on these guys because they have no reason not to be. They haven't proven themselves. Give them a chance. I like what Darren said about Austin Matthews. Why'd he sign in Toronto? Best chance he had to win. Never thought about that. Everybody thinks it's about money. And a lot of times it is. But that's a really good answer. Yeah. Leanne says Skinner's good, but played too many regular season games and got tired. Lessen the load for him. Yeah, I don't go along with that. And it's not just me. One of the reasons I love so much living in NHL markets, and I have lived into Calgary and now South Florida, is talking with the NHL people. And one of those is Kelly Rudy. I don't know why Kelly hasn't talked about this on the air, and I don't want to say anything out of school, but he doesn't get the way the game is now where goalies can't play on back-to-back nights. It's like you don't swing in a 3-0 pitch. You don't play your goalie back-to-back. Yeah, well, Winnipeg did it last year with Hellebuck when they were trying their ass off to get into the playoffs, and it worked, and they got in. And by the way, if you want to know Serena's opinion, hers was this with, what's up, Clark? Were you going to say something? No, I'm fine. Jersey Jim will have some opinions on all these things. He's got opinions on everything. Her question on Montreal, we put our heads together. We get along really good, and we love having these discussions. I said, what's Montreal's burning question? And her suggestion on that was, how long will these fans be patient? Because she said they're volatile. They're violent. I think violent was her term. Montreal Canadiens fans are violent. Maurice Richard riot, 1955. They're like Rider fans. These fans now are descendants of the people that tried to burn the rink to the ground in 1955. How long are they going to be patient? Because they're still patient. They're riding, I guess, that wave of going to the Stanley Cup final 2 years ago, but then they finished dead last and drafted #1 overall, missed the playoffs again last year, and I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year. I think they're going to be dead last in the Atlantic Division. How long will they be patient in Montreal? I know you're all watching out there in Eastern Canada, so would you mind answering? Because the ratings show us that you are. You don't understand that you can interact with us. 902-518-3033. How long are you going to be patient, Montreal fans? That was Serena's question. Jersey Jim joins us next. NHL writer. He'll have opinions on all these things. He's a good one. We are live on Game Plus Television, and we do air all through New Jersey on Altus Cable, New York City, too. On the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, YouTube Live, Apple, and Spotify.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Away we go. I appreciate everybody for answering the bell today. Our last Canadian NHL team before the break, what's their burning question? And it was, how long will they be patient? Chad Glasser, watching the show, puts his hand up and says, lifetime Habs fan here. Montreal still needs a replacement for Carey Price. Until they get that, the drought will most likely continue. Thank you for answering. That's a good one. Have they found the next Carey Price? He doesn't sound confident. Jersey Jim Behringer covers the NHL for NHL Full Press, among other things. As you can see, he has an affinity for the New Jersey Devils. How you doing, Jimbo? What's up, bro?
What's going on, Rod? How you doing today? Nice weather out everywhere here in Jersey and in Florida, so it's nice.
Hey, would you do me a favor and tell everybody how much your mom loves the RP show? What's the story there?
My mom loves the RP show. Got it on every day. I have it on as well, but she loves it. Every time she hears my name, she gets a little smile on her face.
She did a great job, Jersey Jim. Obviously, she loves it when her boy's on. So forget all those 7 Canadian NHL teams. What's the burning question facing the New Jersey Devils as they get ready to open training camp?
Can they exceed expectations? Can they follow up? Those are 2 questions. Follow up from last year and show that they're not a fluke. Yeah, it's multiple questions, but those are the questions I'm asking this team. Can they do what they did last year? Because to me, they have to get to the conference final this year to show that last year wasn't a fluke. And the only way to do that is to come out, great start, show everybody, hey, we got the pieces. They add to Foley. Great add from Calgary, by the way. He's going to add to that offense. Their top 9 is probably one of the best in the NHL right now. Again, question marks on the back end. They lose Damon Severson. Ryan Graves is out of town, but you bring in a Simone Nemec, a Luke Hughes. But to me, this team can't go backwards this year. They have to continue to move forwards, and they're going to have to deal with expectations because, let's be honest, a lot of people around the league love New Jersey. They love where they're heading. It's time for them to take the next step, and the next step is not just the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the conference final.
Well, they were for sure the story in my mind of the NHL last year, but I think, I don't like the term fluke, but I don't think they're going to pose another huge improvement. I don't. Do you? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they're going to do what they did last year. I believe this team's a playoff team. But if I look at the Metro Division up and down, I'm putting Carolina first. Why? Defensively, they're a little better. Goaltending, they're a little better. Last time I was on here, we talked about Connor Hellebuck. And, you know, if he comes to New Jersey, then this team's a legit Stanley Cup contender and has a threat to win the Stanley Cup because he is that good of a goaltender that can win a series, win games, and give them the stability in between the pipes that they need. Their goaltending was exposed against Carolina. It saved them against the Rangers, but the Rangers just can't hang with New Jersey's speed. But if you look at that Metro Division, Carolina won, New Jersey too. You know, 3's open right now. Is it the Rangers? Is it Pittsburgh? You know, you have the Rangers out. I do too because that team got a lot older, and it's specifically at the backup goaltending position. Jonathan Quick, it's a great story, but you know, how often are you going to rely on this guy to do what he did last year for Vegas? Completely different defense in Vegas than in New York. So to me, can they compete with the speed of New Jersey and Carolina? I think those are the 2 teams to beat in the Metro Division, and they're going to be battling for first place again this year.
Jersey Jim Behringer with us from NHL Full Press. Just some other NHL questions that I'm dying to ask you. And you always have the great takes. At the end, we'll ask you where people can follow your stuff. But the poll question today is, do you follow Spit and Chicklets? Are you a fan or a follower of Spit and Chicklets? Because you have had some strong takes on the Mike Babcock situation. Would you relate that to our audience, your take on what's gone on in the last week?
Yeah, so I do follow these guys. I don't listen as much as I used to. They do have some good takes, and I'm glad that they use their platform for a good thing. Again, if you follow me and you know I'm a big wrestling guy, CM Punk had some issues in All Elite Wrestling and was just fired because of some behind-the-scenes backstage fighting. Both guys, Mike Babcock and CM Punk, are very polarizing and controversial figures in their profession. And to see that the situations played out the way they did, look, love them or hate them, they bring money, they do what they do. But again, there's reasons why they're not in their respective professions anymore. Babcock, look, you can't do what you did in 2023. It's a different type of player. Maybe the player's always been the same, but those things that we're hearing, and I've been told it was just the tip of the iceberg from what we were told yesterday by Columbus, that this was just the tip of the iceberg. That means there's more to come out if it ever comes out. But again, look, what Babcock did was wrong. Privacy. And, again, what Craig Button said yesterday, it seems to be what's going around the league, that goodbye, good riddance, and never coming back. And I agree with that. He's never coming back. And he's just a controversial figure. And hopefully, the lessons learned here that people need to dive in and do their due diligence on people that they bring into their organization. Look, I separate what happened coming in with Babcock. I was like, okay, he's a good coach. I've seen what he does. I've heard the stories. We both believe in second chances, third chances. Let's see what happens. And look, we don't even get to training camp, and he's out the door already. So, again, if you follow me and you know me, and wrestling and hockey for me go together, there's a lot of similarities. I compared him to CM Punk, and it seems to be playing out that way.
Kinda but odd, as they say in your neck of the woods. The over-under at Bet Regal for his points is 69.5. You going over or under on that? 69.5 in his rookie season.
I'll take the over just for fun. After what I saw at the prospect tournament, oh boy, this kid is special. Generational talent. They said it at the draft. There's only a handful of these guys that come out every so often. This kid is special. He's a generational talent. There's guys I speak with on Monday night. A group of friends. We said when Chicago went through everything that they went through, we coined the phrase 10-year rebuild. That rebuild sped up about by 3 to 5 years with this kid. Bedard is so special. And you know what? He's just what he did at World Juniors, what he's done everywhere he's gone. I can't wait to watch him in an NHL uniform. If people have never watched him, you're going to see him for the first time, and you're going to be amazed what this kid does with the puck, stick handling, speed. The fact that he's training with Connor McDavid in the offseason just tells you what mindset this kid has, and he wants to be one of the best players in the world. And he's not going to be that right away, but he's going to be there, and he's going to be in that conversation. Look out. He's going to have a good year with the guys that he's playing with in Chicago. If he's on a line with Taylor Hall, they're going to do some damage in Chicago. Look, they're not going to make a playoffs by any means, but they're going to be a little bit more competitive than people think. They're still going to be at the bottom of the division and the bottom of the conference. But Bedard, Chicago's going to be a team you're going to want to watch just because Bedard.
Jersey Jim, where can people follow their stuff?
You can follow me at Jim Behringer on Twitter, at Full Press NHL on Twitter as well. Get me Jim Behringer, Facebook, Jersey Jim 33 on Instagram. If you want to follow along, check the stories out, what's going on down here, or I'm in Vermont or wherever I am on the road sometimes. Also, get me LinkedIn, Jim Behringer, follow along. And check out the podcasts that are out, Full Press NHL Podcast. We had a couple great guests come on as well. So check me out all over the nation and all over Canada, Jersey, everywhere you go. As Johnny Cash said, I'm everywhere.
Yes, you are. As a matter of fact, you forgot one. You got a new Instagram account. What is it? Night recap or nightly cap?
Yeah, nightcap recap. Check out the nightcap recap on Instagram. Also, Full Press NHL on Instagram as well. So there's a lot of places you can get me.
I got you, Jim. I got you, bro. And I forgot to ask. Hey, you were at the NHL draft in Nashville. How was it?
Oh, it was awesome. Nashville was great. Great experience. Awesome place. It was hot, but it was awesome. Everybody was talking about Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson. That's a kid you're going to want to watch in Columbus this year, Adam Fantilli. He's going to have a special season as well. For me, I think 1-2 for the Calder. I think Fantilli and Bedard. I think those two guys are going to battle for it this year.
Okay, my friend. Thanks. Say hey to your mom for me. Tell her she did a great job. Keep it up, man. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. I will. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good day.
Jersey Jim. Guess where he's checking in from? New Jersey. Janet, the Four Seasons, writes in. She says, that's the only reason I'll be following the Hawks now. ×2, sis. We'll be right back with a sports update. In overtime, audience takeover. It's your last chance to get your comments and questions out today. 902-518-3033. Or the streaming chat. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV, WQEE, Apple Music, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, everybody. As you should know by now, Overtime is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. Give him a follow, by the way, on Instagram, Overtime Hockey Lanes, on Twitter, Overtime HL22. I follow them both there. I learned that they had a new lane record last night at Overtime, a 137-kilometer-an-hour slap shot. Does anybody real fast want to tell me what that works out to in miles an hour? That's a sub 100-mile-an-hour slap shot, but still good. Still very good. 137 kilometers, pardon me, an hour slap shot. Ripped last night at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. We're following very closely. Go give them a follow. And maybe go down there and see if you can take a shot at the title. We're so proud and happy to have hockey's Overtime Lanes on board with the RP Show. We got news, breaking news on this Tuesday as we look at a sports update for Common Crown Brewing. Cleveland Brown star running back Nick Chubb will undergo surgery on his left knee after suffering a gruesome season-ending injury in Monday night's loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. A four-time Pro Bowler in 6 seasons, Chubb got hurt when Steelers safety Minka Fitzpatrick tackled him low on a carry in the second quarter. The impact buckled the same knee Chubb injured in 2015 at Georgia and had reconstructed. Coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed this morning that Chubb's season is over. He did not provide any specifics on the severity of the injury nor when he'll have the operation. Meanwhile, how about this? The playoff-bound Tampa Bay Rays put the finishing touches today on plans for a new 30,000-seat ballpark in St. Petersburg as part of a $6.5 billion development project that includes affordable housing, retail, bars and restaurants, and a Black History Museum. The site is on the same 86-acre tract of downtown land where Tropicana Field now sits. That domed, oddly tilted ballpark would be demolished once the new one is built in time for opening day in 2028, said Rays co-president Brian Auld. So they're not moving. Montreal, move along to something else. Sports update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale. 4 of those sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. We have less than 5 minutes for you to reach us here, 902-518-3033. The text line is for EMJ Marketing. They provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Look them up, Joe at emjmarketing.com. Thank you, BW from Edmonton. He's a trucker who follows this show daily on YouTube. He says, I'm almost to Williston, North Dakota. Clear signal all day. Must be all the grain dust from the combines. Great show. Thank you, BW. Appreciate you for that. Ryan in upstate New York says, Jim's a good guy. He's talking about Jersey Jim. And a great podcast guest. Knows the Devils and the New York Jets. Great stuff. Interesting, they're talking about goalie trades, and I have no idea how they got onto this. Earl James in Winnipeg, you're a gem, man. You're a fantastic fact finder. That's what it was. Chad in Lethbridge brought up maybe the Habs should trade for Jacob Markstrom to replace Carey Price. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not replacing Carey Price. Not your fault. But those are astronomical expectations to put on any goalie coming into Montreal. I thought it was going to be Caden Primo. I guess it's not. I never thought it was going to be Jake Allen. Who else did they acquire in the offseason, Clark? They got a goalie in the offseason, did they not? In a trade? I got to go. Yeah. I got to go through their training camp roster, I guess. But to sit there and think anybody's going to be the next Carey Price, in today's day and age, to start assaulting the record books of the names Patrick Waugh, Georges Vezina, Ken Dryden, that's what Carey Price was doing. If we hold Casey DeSmith, thank you. That's who they signed. Yeah, he ain't going to be the next. No. And I say that because I'm wrong. I expect every Dallas Cowboys quarterback to be the next Troy Aikman, and that's not fair to Dak. Because we're seeing so far in this NFL season, he's doing a pretty good job on his own of being the next Dak Prescott. And they're winning games. Oh, anyways, these guys were bringing up goalie trades over the years. And I apologize. Earl says Kirk McLean for Sean Burke was weird. Bob Essens for Tim Chevelday. Oh, thank you, by the way, Ryan O'Radio. Hope you got those pipes working. Ryan O'Radio, I was listening to him this morning out here on WQEE. His throat's shot. Maybe tomorrow we'll tell some stories about me losing my voice various times. It's brutal, man. I feel for you. Like I said this morning, I've been there. Take care of yourself. Anyways, Ryan O'Radio says, another great RP show. Always tends to happen in the biggest moments. For me, a lot of it has to do with the pressure I put on myself. Happened in the Memorial Cup in 2001, 2013 Grey Cup. Part of it has to do with running yourself ragged. And maybe you're doing that, Ryan, so take care of yourself. Thank you today, Jersey Jim, Coach Phil. Great job to our entire crew. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern here on the RP Show.
Who has more fun than us?